Hey Nerdfighters, it's Monday and Trina's chosen this week's theme, which is location. And I live in a fairly small market town called Hexham, which is in Northumberland in the northeast of England. And there's not a lot that goes on here unless you're into charity shops or churches. So I'm going to sort of spread out into the wider region of Northumberland and probably Newcastle as well whilst I'm talking, because otherwise you'd probably be so bored you'd fall asleep. But the sort of thing that Hexham's probably most famous for is Hexham Abbey. But Hexham has an abbey which is really, really old and goes back years, and if I thought this through a bit more I probably would have found out how old it is, but I don't really suspect you care anyway. And so every so often you get like busloads of old people coming to look around it. And the northeast in general, like near to us, there are a load of Roman sites which are left over from the time when the Roman Empire invaded Britain, and we're really, really near to Hadrian's Wall. And yeah, Newcastle obviously is quite good for shopping, and I'm not really going to go into talking about everything that's good about Newcastle or famous about Newcastle because it's big enough that you should already probably know. So instead I'm just going to take the risk of sounding quite big-headed or weird and say that throughout the sort of local area that I live in, I, as part of a group, am reasonably well known because I play in a samba drumming band. And if you're wearing the hoodie and you're out, especially if you're with someone from the band, you do sometimes get stopped and asked like, oh, when are you playing next? Because we play like local gigs throughout the summer a lot of the time, and once we're playing you can't really miss us because we're that loud. You do sometimes get stopped and asked about it. Yeah, so other more well-known and probably better talented musical acts to come out of where I live, like the area that I live in. Probably the only reasonably well-known one for like mainstream music would be Maximo Park, but they're from like Newcastle, Sunderland I think, which is about half an hour away. Other famous things are the film and musical Billy Elliot. That's set in Durham I think, which is again probably about 40 minutes to an hour away, but it's still the northeast and everyone still knows it, and that is how most people where I live talk. With a properly strong Geordie accent, which I don't really have, but yeah. And Shannon, this might interest you. Trina, I know you said you weren't really into it, and Fran and Zaid, just probably not either, but there are a couple of really good Christian bands that are from near where I live, like there's Why Friday, who are from Newcastle, and they're pretty well known, and they're splitting up later this year, and I'm gutted. And then there is a younger band called The Steels, who are less well known, and they're from Morpeth, which is again about 20 minutes I think away from where I live. And yeah, they've got an album coming out really soon, and they've got a couple of albums out already, and they're really young and they're so nice because they were at in Hexham at 9th Hour last night, and I met them there, and they're just some of the nicest people that you could talk to like randomly. And also their lead singer is the most adorably cute person ever. So Fran, I hope your French exam went well last week, and Shannon, I will see you tomorrow.